To have Kari Lake, Deputy CEO, U.S. Agency for Global Media. We are glad to have you. Very honored to be on our show, The Capital.
Thank you.
So we're going to specify our question on the elections. Do you believe Arizona's election system is secure today?
No, I don't. I know it's not. I've been through a couple of elections that had malfeasance, maladministration, that were not run properly, that were where the people were disenfranchised. And the good news is, we have a lot of people in this country who've dug in and said, figured out what's going wrong. And we have a president who's been the victim of stolen elections as well. And he's vowing to the American people that we're going to fix this. We're not going to let another election come through where the people are disenfranchised. And so I'm really happy that President Trump is taking this seriously. I don't know what the reform will look like. But what I believe needs to happen is, we need to stop voting for 45 days. We got to get back to election day. We need to get rid of mail-in ballots, except for people who are in the military, who are extremely ill, or need to travel. And we need to count the ballots on election day, so we have the results election eve, and make people show photo ID and prove that they're a citizen. I think those are real basics, and the majority of Americans want that. And by the way, this isn't just a problem in America. We are seeing election fraud, tampering, malfeasance all across the globe, and we have to bring that kind of election reform so that the people know that
everybody's looking at America, US,
Yeah, we can't have bad elections. We need to make sure we're running them honestly.
So you think that should every federal election have an automatic forensic audit?
Yeah, I mean that's great. Why not? We get audited for our taxes. If the IRS calls or sends you a letter and says you're being audited, you don't get to say, no, I don't think so. We're not going to be audited. You have to be audited. Yeah. We need to audit elections in this country. I think that is a way that we can show transparency, that it was run properly. We don't want to just hear, oh, it was a free and fair election. It was run properly. Trust us. We want to verify, and we want the proof.
Transparency is more important than speeding in counting or in announcing the results.
We can know the results on election night. My entire life, up until about 20 years ago, we knew the results on election night. The more complicated they make it, the introduction of machines, the introduction of mail-in ballots, they've made it so complicated that it now takes 10, 11, 12, 13 days to call an election. And the thing that gets me the most is when the people who want election reform, say, we want to hand count our ballots. They always say, oh, no, you can't do that. It would take too long. And my response is, you mean longer than the 13 days it's taking you to get the results of the election? The people running our elections in this country are full of it in many cases, and the people of this country are tired of it. We have a great leader in President Trump. He wants to see election reform, not just so the Republicans win. We want every voter's vote that's legal to count. Absolutely. Whether you are a Democrat, an independent, a Republican, or somewhere in between. Yeah. We want your vote to count.
How can we restore trust among voters and the system that failed them before?
Well, I think what we just talked about, and I think the president, whether it's going to be an executive order or whether the SAVE Act passes, the president cannot let another election be run the way they have in the past. Polls show that the vast majority, 83% of Americans, don't have any faith in our elections. Yeah. If we continue along that, the people won't show up and vote anymore.
What lesson did you learn from your legal challenges?
Well, what did I learn? I learned that it's not just elections that are corrupt. It's the judicial system that's corrupt. We just had judges who, it was very obvious, they were going into it already making indications that they were going to rule against us without even hearing the evidence, I believe. And I think that's been proven now. We're watching as President Trump and this administration gets into office and is doing great work. And at every corner, there's a judge trying to stop him. And so our whole country has become very, very corrupt from top to bottom, from side to side. And my goal is that we're able to root that corruption out. It's just become overwhelming for the people.
Maybe I want to ask you a question about the media, since you are the
Yeah,
deputy CEO of,
I love
of
that.
the agency. What is the role of media and how they're spreading sometimes some misunderstanding, misinformations about the election?
Well, unfortunately, the media in America has been terrible when it comes to elections. The mainstream media has been lying to the people for so many decades, and they ramped it up. Anybody who said, wait a minute, that election, the machines didn't work, my vote didn't count, I couldn't get the machine to accept my ballot. Anything that was said, they just pushed it aside and said, no, that's nonsense. You're an election denier. The media has been complicit in this crime against the people. Mm-hmm. And that's why the mainstream media, just as the American people have no faith in our elections, they have even less faith in the mainstream media. The good news is a lot of good, solid, honest journalists have come up and are starting to cover the story well. So the media has been terrible. I'm actually a part of the administration. Yeah. I am running the U.S. Agency for Global Media. We broadcast to the world. So, for example, we're broadcasting into Iran right now. VOA, Voice of America, our Persian language, Farsi. Mm-hmm. And we're telling them what's happening. We're letting them know where the president stands, what President Trump is saying, where America stands on the plight of the people of Iran, and letting them know that we support them and their braveness and their courage in this great, horrible situation that they've been under for 47 years. And we support them. And when and if that regime collapses, and I pray to God it does, we want them to know we will support them and help them. But it's got to be the people of Iran who rise up and choose their next leader. That's when it's going to matter that we have fair elections, because we want, when the people of Iran finally get democracy and to have freedom, we want them to be able to choose their next leader.
Yeah, I remember during campaigning for President Trump in Arizona, he was like a fan of you, and he said you have a big experience in media. You're a media personality for over 30 years. So what can you say about democracy and the free speech in the Arab world, in the Middle East? What is your message for people who are like they don't have voices, they don't have,
and that's unacceptable. And I think one of the things we're seeing right now, we're in an information war. It's not about bullets flying, it's about information being withheld or being skewed, lies going out and being told that they're truths and we know that they're lies. And when information is power, regimes don't want you to have that information. We're seeing that all over. We're seeing that obviously in Iran right now. We're working really hard to get our message in, despite the firewalls that the Iranian regime are putting up and trying to turn the internet off. And we're working to get our information in. But it's not just in countries with authoritarian dictators.
Yeah.
We're seeing it in places like the UK. Look what's happening in Great Britain. Look what's happening in England. People are being imprisoned in solitary confinement even for putting out a Facebook post, for producing a documentary. They're going to prison. Censorship is spreading across areas where years ago we would have been horrified at the thought of it. And this has got to be one of the important topics that we need to address around the globe. We're already seeing it. Marco Rubio addressing it. J.D. Vance, our vice president, addressing it. President Trump addressing it. We want people to have access to information.
What is President Trump's message through the Board of Peace, in your opinion?
I think what he's saying is peace is available. It's at our fingertips. The people want peace. And that warmongers are no longer ruling the world. And it makes you really kind of scratch your head and wonder, what has the UN been up to all these years? They couldn't even give the president a pat on the back for ending 8 wars and longtime skirmishes around the globe. They couldn't even say thank you. When he showed up at the UN, they cut his microphone, turned the escalator off, and cut off his teleprompter.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I think this is a path forward for peace around the globe. The people want peace. They want freedom from war. And the president and many of those world leaders today joining together was a huge step in the right direction. Hopefully the UN gets their act together, because I can see people scurrying away from that, heading to the Board of Peace, and saying, this is where the results are. We've got results from the Board of Peace. We have no results from the UN. We're moving away from a globalist agenda around the world toward freedom and peace and sovereignty in the nations around this great world.
Your expectation for the midterm, do you think the Republicans will win the House? I mean,
I
It will be a
believe
big
I
win.
believe that if elections are fair, if we don't have 45 days of counting or voting and counting, if we have election day and we have limited on mail-in ballots, which we've seen lead to corruption and fraud, if we can make sure our elections are honest, I believe that the people want common sense leadership and common sense policies. And in America right now, you have to admit the common sense policies are coming from the Republican Party.
Yeah, Kari Lake, thank you so much for answering
Thank
our
you.
question.
It was
Thank you.
wonderful to meet you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.